Yeah, I can get it
Obviously,
in
we know where
mind.
we're going for this one, so tee it up.
Yeah, I mean, this has to be the big roster move of the middle of the season. I can't really foresee anything overtaking this unless Navi makes some kind of crazy shift in their lineup. But the whole situation with FaZe Clan is just all ugly to me right now. I can't find any real. I find very few positives in this, and I feel like FaZe right now are in a position where unfortunately the core group of players on this team were incapable of pointing the finger at themselves. And I hate turning on FaZe because, I mean, I think they were probably my favorite team to watch over the last couple years. I always got excited when FaZe games were on because the way that they had a knack for making it the most compelling and competitive game, full of comebacks, full of staving off defeats. Like they really kind of brought romance to Counter Strike, but for what they've done now in removing Elige and bringing on Jacob, this just feels like, are we really on the last legs in this fashion? Are we really gonna just give Rain one more 6 month season to see if he can prove himself again? Is Kerrigan capable of even leading a team in modern CS? Is Brokey not the problem, even though it looked like he clearly was the problem? Are we like trying to retcon what happened there about his benching before? Like how many different narratives are we having to change now to justify Elige being benched on this roster when he had in the last 3 months, I think he might have had the best rating on the team. He definitely had the best T side rating, that is. And over the year, he was the second best behind Frozen, who naturally will probably find a little bit more consistency given he gets to go in second a
He
lot of the
literally
time
trades
to call
him.
his own
He
number.
literally trades him. Yeah.
He's a trade. Yeah, he's trading a leash. He's literally trading the
Yeah.
guy that's running in first, that's putting up already good numbers. I I'm just disappointed in FaZe for doing this because I don't see this fixing their problems. I don't see Jacob. It was a guy that I looked into for Apogee at PGL Bucharest because they got in. They made it through the European
You're mixing it up.
qualifier. They beat
Yeah.
a bunch of teams that were pretty well known, like OG. I think was who they played. It might have been them in the grand finals against them, but they played a bunch of kind of those tier 1.5, tier 2 teams, and they made it through. Looking at his game, I mean, hard to argue mechanically with what he's able to do. The fact that he's able to do it in in an aggressive nature, and but the thing is that Apogee played a very basic style that was very much just strat driven. It was almost like they on certain maps, especially against tier 1 teams, they would kind of ignore the middle of any map because they just knew they were going to lose the map control battle, and then they just went into site hits. They went into a lot of site hits, and Jacob was the beneficiary for a lot of those hits. And I don't even really think that he like it almost sometimes felt like the strat won if they were winning more than always he won. And the other factor about this move is that Kerrigan's wife was the psychiatrist of his team. So I'm sure that is going to give him a vote of confidence that this guy is a good egg, that he's not actually going to, be a detrimental figure on the team. But come on, it's a downgrade in the server. This is a clear downgrade in the server, 1-for-1 Jacob for Elige. And I just think that there is just a misuse of talent on FaZe right now. And this is like for the first time in quite some time, the one roster that Kerrigan couldn't solve. So I find that he's also on the downtrend as well.
I am willing to play a little bit of FaZe Defense Force here because they just have the most the weirdest combination of skill in that Elige is just really one of the best players out there on T sides. It's really hard to find anyone better. His T sides are unbelievable, and I think he's just not that good. I don't think on CT side. When he first joined the roster, he was definitely overplaying a lot of situations, and I feel like I still see the same thing where he's not having faith in his teammates, maybe for good reason, to be fair, but he's not having faith in his teammates and kind of losing them some rounds from time to time. And if you look at his stats, compared to the position he plays, he's underperforming the positions he plays on CT side, by a decent margin. If you look at either buy rounds or not. Skybox says he's got a 1.17 on CT side. The comparison is 1.33 if you compare him to the top 5 teams out there. based on his positions that he's playing. I just don't think he's a great CT side player, and I would be willing to maybe put this at least a little bit on Kerrigan, but it was actually the same thing on Complexity. He was in all of the spots that he wanted to be in, all of the best spots, and his CT side was just not very good. And if you look at Faze, if you actually look at their CT side stats, I just had it on my screen a second ago, but if you look at their CT side stats, their whole team is just like bad on CT sides.
Yep.
They're like their average.
Even Brokey's not that good, and normally the
terrible.
AWPers farm the CT, you know.
Yeah, and maybe you could say that there's a little bit to do with like okay, if you don't have a great opper, maybe it makes it a little bit harder. But that, like, if we look at the CT side stats, what is it? Frozen, it's a 1.3 last 3 months. Everyone else, Brokey's 1.08, Elysia's 1.02 on HLTV's CT side. And I think the problem that I'm seeing is that I've heard suggestion that he was kind of like asking for more control and for more resources. And I think Elige might just not adequately or accurately, define his own abilities. And so I think he puts himself in these spots on CT side that maybe he shouldn't be in. And I think that it's very possible that Kerrigan's like, look, we need to change this, and Elige just didn't want to change. That's kind of the impression I got based on like their interviews and stuff. Obviously, I don't have like any inside info, but it's weird because individually, of course, Faze should have been doing better. They definitely, I can't disagree that they should have been doing better with the firepower they had, but I just think they just had such a weird amalgamation of players in terms of like their abilities on T and CT side. Their only good CT player is Frozen. It's just one person. Like, how do you win? How do you win with that? I don't know. And I can't speak much to Jacob because I really haven't looked at him play, but I can see why they'd want to remove Elige. I could see them thinking that they could have a better fit in terms of like someone that could just be a little more static on both sides. They could still find ways to win on T side. They're a little bit better on CT side maybe. But yeah, I mean, obviously there are a couple of other more notable players that you would probably remove if you're talking about firepower. I just think that Sponge was fucking right. That's how I'll put it. Sponge was right. When the rounds break down, when you get into these chaotic rounds, Faze just find ways to lose all the time now. And they used to find ways to win. And if they think that replacing Elige could fix that, they got to do something. I mean, just doing the same thing isn't working, you know? So that's why I respect the move. I think it could help them on CT side, and it could help them fix this kind of like the Faze magic is gone.
No, I mean, I do vibe with that a bit. Like, first of all, though, there are a few angles that need to be addressed. Like, first of all, I'll do it. I won't do the whole thing I do. I did this in my videos. I'll do a short version. Just like the jail move, please stop seeing these are mutual moves. Like, here's my analogy, right? Imagine in your relationship, your girlfriend, who knows why, this is a completely fantastical scenario, would never happen to any of us. This is just pure hypothetical. Imagine your girlfriend said, the problem is our sex life is really shit in this relationship, and that's really important to me. I need to feel connected sexually to someone, like we're compatible, and the problem is, I'm just going to be blunt, your dick is too small. I need someone with a bigger tool who knows what they're doing with it and can really make me come. Now here's the problem. You could then say to all your friends in the pub, to not make it awkward, oh, it was mutual, because technically it was, right? She needed someone with a bigger dick. You feel bad that you're now in a relationship and don't have a big enough dick, so mutually you both know you have to part ways. That's not mutual. She basically chose that. You had to just deal with it, and you just coped that it was mutual. So the same thing, right? I'm sorry, I don't believe actually that JL did go, actually, you know what? Coincidentally to me playing like shit for the last 6 months, I think I should just be on the bench / not even play CS anymore, and you recruit a guy from the academy. I think what happened there was they were like, JL, you have to be benched, but we'll be nice to you and say you can say it was mutual. So even if, as you say, the story goes, Elysia's like not playing well enough on CT, and he goes, I need better roles, or, you know, a switch up in the dynamic. If then Kerrigan and Faze basically go, no, then in a sense you've mutually parted ways, but actually what's happened there is they fired you because you can't play the way on CT that you need to, apparently, for the relationship to continue on. So to me, this looks way more like, even if Elige had some role in it, it's just Faze's decision. Because the other reason why this movie has to be ugly, I agree with putting it ugly, not good or bad, is because, bro, on paper, if you're making a triage list, Vu, like we can only fix 3 things, so we're going to put the top 5 things we can fix, and we're going to get 3 done. kick Elige out and bring in an unknown Polish player would never be even in the top 5. Never mind the 3 we're actually going to do. I mean, the joke is having the name Jacob even sounds like some generic name that you would bring into complexity when Elige leaves. He's Polish, he's not from NA, but it just sounds like a generic ESEA invite level fucking name, like Jacob from New York City. You know, it's ridiculous. Like, it's absolute garbage. So anyway, I don't believe that, but I do agree that they had issues. Essentially, they didn't get the best Elige. I'm with you on that one. The problem I have is this. You're now going to surely give up what he gave you on T-side, though. The Jacob, by the guy, I watched a few POVs. Here's what's funny. He does play some of the spots Elige plays, and he does actually have a similar style of play to Elige. Has very good spray, decent aim, but not insane. The problem is he just looks like a poor man's Elige. So the weirdest thing about this move to me is it does actually seem like that whole, like, Carrigan's wife is the sports psychologist of Betclic Apogee is a real factor. It sounds like almost she's been able to tell you, look, I've worked with this guy. He is essentially Elige without the ego, and he was just going to do what you tell him to do, but not as good. Like, on paper, that might sound good for the dynamic and the calling and all that. But the problem is, surely in the game, you're just going to have a worse T-side now. Like, the one thing you didn't want to give up as Faze was this ridiculous T-side player, where that was the one thing you had nailed. You could even argue, by the way, boys, the game just became more T-sided. Like, surely this is the perfect time to have Elige. You've done it the wrong way around. Last season was when you needed to kick him. This season, he's probably even more valuable. So that's a bummer for me. And then also, I'll just put this out there. People do this thing where they go, and you know, Rain gave him all his spots. First of all, bullshit. You didn't watch the game. He definitely swapped some back later and was fucking terrible in them and has been quite shit himself this last season. It's just he is CS royalty. Even though, by the way, I've got to say right now, I genuinely don't understand why Twists and Rain are CS royalty, but Elige isn't. Like, have I missed something? Rain wasn't even, like, that much earlier than Elige. Like, if I have to look at which is a greater play, if I'm doing, like, a Hall of Fame, Elige goes in before Rain. What are you talking about? Like, Rain's just a beloved player who sacrificed a lot as a role player, and everyone respects his longevity. Elige's a much greater player for me. So I don't get why Elige never gets any of the protection and gets, like, the benefit of the doubt. But, like, Rain just gets infinite benefit of the doubt. Like, no one ever wants that guy kicked. So I don't even get that. And I do think, by the way, Rain is one of the players with Brokey who let the squad down this year. Because the last thing I'll say is this. I also feel, I did the whole rant on my video, so I won't make a whole thing here. I also feel like if you're Elige, you got sold the biggest false bill of goods of all time when you joined this team. Because you joined VOO on some shit of like, hey, I'll just do what Twists did. I grinded all that time for a stupid NA team. Why don't I just go to Europe and play with all these legends and I get to win everything? But I always say this, as I said in my video, you didn't get the same Brokey and fucking Rain he got, mate. He got the Rain that was the MVP of a major. He had Brokey that was like smurfing Katowice and for real was actually like winning like insane mid-rounds. He didn't get those players. He came into a totally different squad where actually everyone in the whole squad, even though again, he's not even the biggest name of all time, everyone's turned around like Nico and gone, why don't you play better? That's the whole fucking answer. It's like, we're drag more Elige. Like, fucking hell. And meanwhile, I think the problem, here's why this is ugly to finish. This move doesn't even matter. Even if this player ended up being 10% better than Elige, it doesn't make any difference to Faze. They don't win any tournaments because of it. They're not going to be number one. They're not going to fucking make a run at the major. Like, the worst part about this move is it's such a fucking small potatoes move as well. Like, I actually personally think it could make them worse, but even if it made them slightly better, does it really make them ultimately better? Not in a way that's meaningful, right? Because last thing to throw in there as well, as someone who always studies the map pool, I've said this before, it was the same with Na'Vi. The reason why I gave up on both Na'Vi and Faze is because both of them already spent the last season trying everything with the map pool. They went everywhere they could, they tried every other pick they could, they tried fucking working on like outskirt maps, like Anubis was one that they worked on in both squads. They never could get an answer. So to me, this is like the last thing you can do is you just have to kick someone at the end. That's all you've got left.
I actually think that one of the things that makes this ugly is that I think there is a small chance that even this Jacob guy could make them, like, they could just vibe better with it. I mean, that's always been Faze's thing, that they've worked well in certain scenarios. They've never necessarily...
Even that, though, bro, come on. Listen, I'm totally with Sponge. If you ask me, like, because actually, if people don't know, Rop seems really quiet, but he has that, like, weird sort of, like, undersold humour, you know, where he is, like, a funny guy and a bit of a troll and stuff, you know, and he can sort of let it out a bit in private. I get that Elige isn't that guy. He's more like the serious fucker who's eating an apple, just doing all his homework. Teacher, you forgot to ask for the homework. He's that guy, right? So I get that people don't vibe with that. But a random Polish guy that no one fucking knows has great vibes. Does it give me a break? What's he going to do? Drink a load of vodka and start dancing on his head? What are you talking about? Why has he got vibes all of a sudden? Who's this fucker? Tell me a joke then, Jacob. Go on.
My guess is that if we're saying that they
Whatever.
wanted to cut Elige, then my guess is that they just think this guy's just going to listen and just do whatever they tell him.
True.
The reason I think it's really ugly, though, is that if they did do just as well or only a tiny bit worse or slightly better, then people are going to be like, well, Elige was the problem. And it's like, I wouldn't really go as far as to say Elige was the problem in that, like, he was... You could argue that he just didn't fit the team, but that's not his fault. Like,
Bro,
you kind of knew who you were getting.
You guys surely please remember this. During that fucking PGL with the new call lineup with that run to the semis, people already were like, actually, this team is better without Elise. Like, nah, fuck y'all. Fuck every one of you. Get off the server right now. I hate all of you. I hate you all so much.
Yeah, that's the problem I have with it, is that, like, if they only do slightly worse, if people are going to be like, well... I mean, if they brought in a random Polish player and they're basically the same team, Elige was the problem. And it's like, dude, it's just Elige, if he's on the right team, he is like a transcendent talent on especially on T sides. He's unbelievable. It's just, he just needs the right team. And like Faze wasn't that team. That's not his fault. But I think people are going to lay a lot of blame on Elige. I mean, unless they just crater out, which is definitely
also
possible.
This just burns me so badly because the bait and switch is so gross. I went from like a month ago through, I'm supposed to believe Simple's joining the fucking team. He's getting better and better each match, and who knows, maybe by the Budapest match, like win the major or something. Now I not only don't have Simple, I don't have Elige either, and I've got checks notes Jacob and Brokey is back. Like, this is some nightmare fuel if you're a Faze fan. I like Faze. I don't fucking anymore, mate. I hate him now. I despise him.
I think Brokey might actually have better round swing since returning than Elige. Okay, it's not better. Okay, it's close, but it's not better.
I think we just leave it on that. Just cut on that. Just leave it on that note.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.